Welcome to An Unconventional Life, a podcast where we share stories about the crazy 1% out there who earned their doctoral degrees and then went on to use them in crazy, cool, unique, and unconventional ways. Here's your host, astrophysicist turned teacher, author, dissertation coach, and more, Dr. Russell Strickland.
Hi, this is Dr. Russell Strickland here, host of An Unconventional Life podcast, where I feature stories of the unconventional 1% who go out and earn doctoral degrees and then use them in these unconventional ways. We talk about the winding journey of their life and their careers. Today, I have Dr. Jeremy Weiss here, and he has interviewed literally thousands of successful entrepreneurs, investors, and CEOs. And we've kind of flipped the script a little bit. And today he's going to interview me. So I'd like you to take it away, Dr. Weiss.
Thank you, Dr. Strickland. And you know what? Talk about a winding journey. You have one, right? I mean, your journey is winding. And so I suggest people listen to that episode where we talk about your journey. And we have an interesting case story today with someone who uses this in the business realm, which we'll talk about and go deep in. But before we do, the episode is brought to you by Dissertation Done. And I like to tell people Dissertation Done is the combination of literally rocket scientist, Dr. Strickland. I don't know if everyone knows this about you, but rocket science meets management consultant, because Dr. Russell Strickland started Dissertation Done after the huge pain points he dealt with after studying astronomy and astrophysics at University of Chicago. And University of Chicago, if anyone knows, it's really hard to get into. I'm in Chicago. He's mentored thousands of students over the past 20 years. He's worked with students in business, nurses, education, psychology, anyone who studies people in a data-driven way. You know who you are. He works with and basically helps you take it across the finish line. You have a mentor walking you through the process. You don't have to go at it alone. And it can be a frustrating process. So you can go to dissertationdone.com. They have you can go contact them. They have an email. They have a phone number at the top. You can even call. And this person in particular, Dr. Strickland, called you. All right.
That's right.
So talk about that initial conversation.
Well, I mean, it's not very unusual. The way things started out, that he called out this person's name is Dr. David Braswell, and I think we're going to be having him on the show in one of our episodes. He called me. Well, actually, I guess it was a little unusual, because he called me because he knew he wanted a coach. He knew he wanted a mentor. And I asked him where he was in the dissertation process. And he said, well, I'm getting ready to get started. And I was like, oh, you're one of those. Because a lot of our students call when they're like a year or two into the dissertation process, but haven't gotten very far yet. You know what I'm talking about? But some people will call us and they'll say, listen, I'm just getting ready to get started in my dissertation, or I'm working through my degree program. I'm not there yet, but I want to be prepared. And we really love working with students that are really proactive like that, because, hey, listen, face it, the best and the brightest of us out there, the strongest of us, we rely on coaches to make us strong, to keep our performance at that super high level. And Dr. Braswell, he finished his dissertation in less than a year. I have to check the exact numbers, but
wow.
It was definitely months less than a year that he finished his dissertation in. And part of that is because we had a really good plan for getting him through, and some things lined up very well, which we'll talk about. But also part of that was just being proactive and going out there and saying, I want to hit the ground running. What do I need to do to make that happen? So,
what's the advantage of that?
Way it started.
What's the advantage of someone starting early? Or is there?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, you're not starting late. So there's an advantage right there. But
like I'm just saying in terms of
early versus on time.
Yeah, I mean, someone's thinking, well, is that too early to start the get-go, or should I wait? Because I'm sure maybe he said that. Like, should I wait a little bit, or is now a good time? What do you tell him?
Yeah. Like so generally speaking, if you are in your doctoral degree program, it's not too early to be thinking about your dissertation. If you are not in your doctoral degree program yet, it might be a little too early to start thinking about your dissertation, and you definitely can't do much about it yet. So first you got to get enrolled. But once you start taking classes, we actually work with students who are very early in the process, and we help them to leverage some of the time and effort and energy they have to put into their classes to help with their dissertation. And so if we do start early, then we're able to kind of leverage those bits. And we can't do that all the time with every single class, but with a lot of the classes, you'll find that at least some of the time and effort that you had to put in anyway, because it was a class, it was another degree requirement for your degree in addition to the dissertation. Many of those classes will be able to take some of the effort you put into them and leverage it into your dissertation. So that's a huge reason why it's great to get an early start on it and not just wait until the school says it's time to get started.
So if he finished in a year or less, what's typical?
Typical where? So typical is you may or may not finish. Okay, there's a 50-50 chance that you're going to finish your dissertation.
Right.
That's typical.
Yeah.
And then for folks that do finish, 2, 3, 4 years, a lot of times that they take. Universities typically start giving you a lot of guff if you're going past 7 years, because the accrediting bodies get on the university and say, why is the student still here? Are you trying to just take all the students' tuition money? And obviously, since the university has a profit motive to take tuition money, they need someone overseeing and making sure that they're looking after the student as well. And so they have to start justifying why you're still enrolled in the school if you're taking more than 7 years to finish your degree. And a lot of that time you could spend on your dissertation. Now, folks that do finish, again, few years is not bad. It's fairly good. Our students, we set the goal at 12 months. And that's a stretch goal. Not everybody's going to make that, but some people do better. Okay, so we're looking for students who are going to finish in, kind of 12 to 18 months, hopefully on the lower end of that spectrum. But we're always super happy when we have our students that we can get finished in, 8, 9, 10 months. That's always awesome. My world record, and I don't think it's ever going to be matched or duplicated, it was 5 months we got a student through the dissertation process. That was the stars aligned and the wind at his back, but it's a real data point. We did that.
That's amazing. What else do you attribute to the success of Dr. Braswell? Obviously being proactive, starting early, what else helped him in this journey to get done in less than a year?
Well, understanding that, I've talked about this in other episodes, you need a tremendous breadth of skill sets to be able to complete this project. And it's very rare that anyone's going to possess all of those skill sets coming into the dissertation. And so knowing he runs his own business, he understands that there are some things that he's really good at and some things that he's not so good at. And it doesn't make him a bad or a weak person that he's not so good at everything. It makes him a human. And so what he does to make himself a better person is he finds people to help him either develop or augment or borrow skill sets, depending on what the situation and the ethics of the situation dictates. So you have to do a lot more of your dissertation than you would have to run your business. A lot of times you can just get people to do other things for you. I don't know if you remember seeing that show movie. I think it was called Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield in it.
Yes.
Where he comes back and he literally hires Kurt Vonnegut to write his English paper on
Right.
Kurt Vonnegut, and the professor says, you don't know anything about Kurt Vonnegut, and he brings Kurt out, after the professor leaves and yells at him about what a crap job he did writing the paper about himself. You can't do that in school, really. So
yeah, I went to Madison. That was actually
who leveraged that, who said, I know I don't know how to do everything. I'm going to go out and get skill sets that I don't possess for myself. Of course, we keep it all ethical and above board. So that means that we have to sometimes augment your skill sets, help you develop the skill sets that you're going to need to finish.
Yeah, I went to Madison. The film was actually filmed at Madison, cool. So I do know it.
So when my kids started diving, they asked me, what dive should I work on next? And so I threw out the Triple Lindy, and we got them to watch first on YouTube, and I think eventually they watched the whole movie.
That's hilarious.
But if you don't know what the Triple Lindy is, look it up. It's cool.
Yeah, definitely. So, Dr. Strickland, why was Dr. Braswell getting the degree in the first place? He has his own business. What made him decide to do that?
He ran his own business, and you know what? People tend to listen to people whose first name is Doctor. They tend to think that you know what you're talking about, regardless as to what you say. So make sure that you're careful when you do earn your doctoral degree and your first name is Doctor. Make sure you're careful about what you're saying, because people are going to believe you most likely. There are very few people in our society currently, unfortunately, who are skeptical, who are critical consumers of information. If you tell them something, they'll just believe it. whether that's written in a paper, a book, or a tweet. People will just believe things. So particularly when you earn your doctoral degree, make sure that that you are respectful of the authority you're going to command. But he wanted to have that additional authority and credibility of being able to say, when he dealt with, and his business works with educators, when he dealt with these educators, he wanted to really not just know that he had experience, but be able to kind of stand a little bit of a level up and say, this is Dr. Braswell conveying to you from my position what you guys need to be doing in your school districts with the specific issues he was helping them with.
How did he feel it helped him in his career? Did he convey any of that to you after the fact?
Oh, yeah. So any of you guys who are business owners know, when I started my business dissertation done, the first few months, I was having like huge double-digit month-over-month growth. And those are like so much fun because you just see every month you're making so much more money than you made the month before. Well, that doesn't last very long. At some point, you kind of top out. And if you can get to double-digit growth at all, you're doing pretty well. A lot of businesses mature businesses don't achieve double-digit growth on a regular basis. He actually his business was a mature business. He actually said he hit like 30% growth after he had completed his degree, in part because of things that he was different things that he was doing as a doctor. So he had transitioned himself to thinking about things a little bit differently, but in a large degree based on being able to say he was Dr. Braswell instead of just David.
What would he say was a powerful portion of, part of the process? Like, again, he's busy, he's running a business, he's getting a degree. It's a busy time. What was powerful for him?
He would tell me over and over again, tell me what to do so I can do it. I want to get this done. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. They don't do that hardly in any degree program that I'm familiar with. It's very rare in the dissertation that they will tell you, do these things, and then you're done. They want you to go out and figure things out and flail and bump your head against the wall and, just generally kind of experiment. That's really good for folks who are going to spend a lifetime in academia, who are going to be doing this stuff over and over again and need to be able to do this research in a competent way forever and ever. But most of the students that we work with are like Dr. Braswell. They already have established careers and they're wanting to take those careers to another level, not by doing a whole bunch of research, but by learning more about their specific discipline and earning their doctoral degree to do so. And then having that doctoral degree to show to other folks what an expert they are. And so he didn't need to become an expert researcher. He needed to be able to demonstrate that he could do it so that he could earn his degree. And that's what we were able to do by kind of telling him what to do week to week.
Yeah. And it's kind of like you just kind of lay it step by step. So someone can just follow it. They don't have to think. They have someone who's already been there, done that. It's like if I'm walking through a forest or something.
They have to think, but we're telling them think about it, at least.
Think about the step. They have to think during, but think about the next step. You don't have to I think of it like you enter into this forest and if someone knows kind of the path, they can take you down the path, or you can kind of go down one path and be like, okay, this is not right. And then you back up like a couple miles and you're out of the way,
See, I like to think about it as a metaphor of it, a GPS. We use that for a lot of what we do. The first thing we do is we map out a destination. And you would not believe how many doctoral students who are smart, intelligent, capable, accomplished people go into the dissertation and really don't have a destination in mind. They know they want to get their dissertation done, but they just don't know exactly what they're going to. First thing we do is help them figure that out. So that's number one. But after that, it's these turn-by-turn directions that we're providing each week. I was on a trip with my family. We after the end of the school year, we did this. Went down to the beach for a couple of days, and it was a place I hadn't been to in many years. So I actually didn't know how to get there, but I just punched into the GPS, and then I didn't have to know how to drive the car. So people have to know how to write papers. I had to know how to drive the car, but I didn't have to know where I was going at all. It told me to turn here, I turned there. And that's the way that it works. So yeah, that part of the thinking gets outsourced, but you still have to do the driving of the car, so to speak.
Yeah. I want to talk about business use cases for this.
Yeah.
Why do typically, for him, he saw that was definitely credibility, authority, helped grow his business, gave him the respect. What are other reasons why you see people who are in business go on and get their dissertation done?
Well, I mean, in business, that's huge. I mean, if you're hanging out a shingle, if you're a kind of an authority-driven business, then being, Dr. the man versus just the man, it's another level.
Yeah.
People, again, automatically associate more credibility with you. There's a lot of things you have to do in business to run a business. But those businesses that really require a certain level of expertise and where people are delivering kind of higher level services, folks like having that reassurance. It helps them. There's an old saying that said that no manager ever got fired for hiring IBM. This was way back in the day, when IBM was the force in that type of business consulting. Maybe the project didn't go well, but we can't fire you as a manager because, hey, you hired IBM. I mean, what else were you going to do? Same thing for other consumers. If you are confronted with a choice between two businesses that are run by experts and one of them has their doctoral degree and the other one doesn't, there's a nod at least to the other guy. There's a clear nod to the other guy. So
Yeah.
the one with the doctoral degree. So that's huge. For a lot of folks, it might be something to do with even licensure. Psychologist, you can provide counseling without having a doctoral degree, but maybe you have to have someone with a doctoral degree that's supervising. Or again, are you going
limitations.
to get the same level of respect from the patients if you don't have that doctoral
Yeah.
degree? So
There's definitely
and for other people who aren't
limitations.
in business, it might literally be about getting more money or getting a promotion. So they're in business, generally speaking, in your career, in your professional capacity, there's a lot of reasons why. But when you're running your own business in particular, it's definitely a good shortcut to getting that authority, having people automatically recognize your authority by having that doctoral degree.
First of all, Dr. Strickland, thank you. Everyone should check out dissertationdone.com. They have a phone number on their contact them, email them. The big take home for me, Dr. Strickland, is proactivity, right? Whether you're talking about dissertation, or you're talking about your health, whether you're talking about wealth, like being proactive for any of these things. You want to wait till, you having chest pain to start eating healthy or exercising. You want to be doing it proactive. Same thing with this process. So I appreciate you sharing that lesson in this business use case.
So listen, with your dissertation, it's never too late until you're literally kicked out of the program. You can still graduate. You can still finish. It's never too late. But yes, the important takeaway from this is it's also never too early. So don't think I have to put this off for any reason. You don't. There are clear benefits to getting started. As soon as you think you're ready to get started, you can begin to accrue those benefits. As long as you're actually in your doctoral degree program, having the right focus and doing the right things can get you a leg up when you get to the dissertation eventually. So yeah, awesome. Productivity is great if you have time for it. And if you don't let that be an excuse. You can still finish. It's never too late.
Well, time now or 3 years later, right? Take your pick.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm not discounting proactivity. I just want to tell folks who are not so proactive that we want to make sure that we're now going to be proactive.
Yeah, totally.
And not get in deeper. It's never too late. But being proactive is clearly better because you don't waste any time. You hit the ground running when you get to the dissertation phase. You can go into it part of the dissertation actually done by the time you even start the process. So lots of reasons why you want to do that if you can. And if you have passed that level of being proactive and now you're feel like you're behind, don't let yourself get any further behind. Be proactive now about getting on the right track.
Cool. Thank you so much, awesome. Dr. Strickland.
You're welcome. Thank you, Jeremy, for being here.
This has been An Unconventional Life. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe now to keep getting inspirational stories of unconventional lives as soon as they're released. Until then, go out and live your best unconventional life.